going?
Hey, everybody.
Yo.
Hello.
I'm going to just get a more suitable background.
I like your Walt Disneyland background.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, Disney World.
Yeah, but...
Oh, good God.
So who we have here? Oliver, Pat,
Yep.
Dom, and Jeff.
And Jeff.
Are you guys all in your own isolation areas, I guess? Your own self-quarantines?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
Well, I'm waiting outside the Walt Disney World to open.
You might be there until like 2022, apparently. Right on, guys. Well, thanks again for doing this. I'm not sure how familiar you are with our podcast, but we talk about how you guys all got started in music and how you formed Broadside and where you are today.
Cool. Sounds good. Do you just want to go back and forth, or
Yeah. However you guys want to do it. I mean, let's start with I don't know. How'd you guys all meet up together?
So make a long story short, basically, the band was sort of forming in Richmond back in 2010, and they were just kind of following Warped Tour and like selling CDs to crowds and stuff like that, and trying to get them to listen to their single, their mixtape, essentially.
Yeah.
But then their singer got a bit of anxiety and he bowed out. And at the time, I was putting YouTube covers on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And I covered a Rihanna song. And the drummer at the time messaged me and said, "Hey, do you want to join the band? Our singer just quit, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Where are you guys located?" And they said, "Oh, well, would you be willing to travel? We're in Richmond, Virginia." Turns out, so was I. So then the band kept rolling, and then we got a little bit of hype. We recorded our first single, Storyteller. And then we got signed after that. And then we went on tour. One of our first tours, being a signed band, was with the band Old Again, which is the majority of the other faces you're looking at right now. And they're from Florida. And then, lo and behold, some of the guys got older. Some of the guys turned out to not be the best people to work with. But, you know, I'm a firm believer in working with people that are loyal, and that I like people with drive and motivation. So I kind of reached out to Pat earlier on, and after their band would you guys break up, or did you just kind of call it?
You guys
we were coasting into a stop.
Oh, okay.
Very, very gradual descent.
Yeah,
So
I came to practice one day and said, Broadside asked me to go on Warped Tour with them, so see you guys later. All right.
That's basically how I put it in our band group chat while we were like taking a break from practice, and nobody reacted. So then I sent a follow-up text. I said, "Wow, you guys are taking this really well."
But yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on. Poached them, and just being friends for a long time and getting to know each other, and just and then, you know, Jeff, I don't know what the best way to introduce you other than we hit it off really well the first time we like stayed at your house, and I knew you know, but
I think the first time I met or I knew of the old guitar player via my roommate that was in a local band with back in the day, and Broadside came in on through Orlando on tour. I was like, "Hey, let's hang out, have a place to crash," and that kind of stuff. Stayed in touch. Then their old drummer left and wanted to start a family and that kind of stuff, and they were like, "Hey, we need a drummer." I was like, "All right, cool. I'm free and available." So I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Went out on tour, and they haven't had asked me to leave yet. So
that's good.
It's too nice. We can't tell them to like get lost or anything. You feel bad about it.
I just flip it around on them.
That's pretty much what we are now. Yeah, as a full band, and I say the strongest that the band's probably ever been. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ins and outs during the whole process. Like,
sure.
But at the same time, I feel the most confident I think I've ever felt about this band right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oliver, so you joined the band after it was already started, but you've been in the longest,
right?
The most recent lineup. Okay. So how did you start music originally?
So I was in bands in high school. I wanted to be like a tough guy.
Okay.
But I really just grew up listening to like hardcore and punk rock, and then I found metalcore, and then I was lucky enough to have a really cool uncle who got me in really dope bands. And so music to me has always just been like within me. I went to a show when I was like 13, and I realized how cool people looked there, and how like much of the crowd participation I was interested in at the time. It's just funny now that I grew up to be such a introverted weirdo, but I just really enjoyed the whole idea of music. So I was like, you know what, I don't really know how to play an instrument, but I started this program called Audacity, and I just started putting instruments together and just giving out a CD at my school and saying, oh, this is my band, and I would make people up.
I've never heard this.
Like, I'd be trying to rip off the Cure guitar riffs and stuff like that, and then I would just be singing horribly over top of it. And it was like, and it was like I think it was like a PC mic. And I actually found one of those the other day. But that's how I got started in music, was just trying to recreate it, like innocently and as cute as that sounds. Look, I like it. What happens when I do this? But I don't know. It just kind of came organically to me and humbly. I just I wanted to imitate it, and I wanted to share what I experienced, because at that time, kids my age I didn't see kids in my school going to shows. So I was like,
What show is that you went to when you were 13? Do you remember who the band was?
I think it was I know it was around, around St. Patrick's Day. So it was a lot of indie bands trying to sound super folky.
Oh, okay. It wasn't like it wasn't touring band or anything.
Although the first tour that I ever went to that really impacted me was the Curiosa tour, and that's with the Cure headlined a band called Mogwai off Demar. It was Muse's second show ever. That band Muse.
Yeah, wow.
The band Thursday, which I
love Thursday.
One of my favorite bands of all time. One of the reasons why I originally signed to Victory personally.
I want to talk to you guys about that, because I was telling my wife, who usually does a podcast with me, but she's downstairs with the kids, trying to keep them together. But that label had every band I loved on it: Bayside and Taking Back Sunday and Thursday, and that's such a cool thing to be signed to. But you're saying, sorry, I cut you off, but
that was pretty much it. And then, from there, it's just my love for music kind of grew. But then what evolved into was my love for vocalists and singers. I really started to really appreciate the use of words to melody, and I really kind of grew into that. And so in high school, I started to fall more in love with that and step farther away from the aggressive stuff and more into the kind of whiny, poetic, folky kind of stuff. Not folky like what we'd imagine when I say that word, but you know what I mean. Just kind of off the wall, kind of crazy stuff, genre-less singer-songwriter type stuff.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. How about you, Pat? How did you get into music?
Oh man, I was in band all throughout school, middle school and high school. So I kind of had a background in music from that. Neither of my parents were really musically talented, I don't think, or if they were, they never showed it. But I think it was mostly my dad trying to live vicariously through me. So he would be like, "Oh, join band, yeah, play an instrument." And then I got to high school, he was like, "Oh, you should be on the drum line. Don't play oboe anymore." And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds cool, because oboe sucks. I hate playing it."
What is an oboe?
Bro, it's a different conversation. Yeah. But I got my first bass when I was in 7th grade.
Okay.
And then right around the same time, actually at the same time, my brother got a guitar, and then my cousin also got a guitar. So I guess I kind of owe it to my cousin a lot, because he's the one that showed me alternative music. His favorite bands were Taking Back Sunday from First to Last, bands like that.
Yeah.
So one of the earliest songs I remember covering with him is Adam's song by Blink-182.
Rad.
So we would play that like in my grandparents' bedroom or whatever whenever we would sleep over at their house.
That's kind of a cool song to learn on bass too.
Yeah.
It's got more
I was definitely playing it wrong at that time because, you know.
Still.
As child.
But yeah. But yeah, ever since then, like I joined like a real band in, I think like after I graduated high school. So like a year after I graduated 2009. So I met a lot of people in the scene, I guess, 2009, 2010. And I joined my first band in 2010. And then it was like a Christcore, like metalcore band.
Okay.
X God X. But yeah, and that's actually how I met Dom, because Dom was in this cool post-hardcore like Oceana Birth Eater worship band. Okay. So we played a lot of shows together. Then that band broke up and I wanted to play something different. I was kind of like growing tired of like playing heavy music all the time. So we started a pop punk band. Then a guitarist in that band left, and then Dom came in. And for the longest time, I guess Dom thought that I hated him for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'll get to that.
I want to hear that.
Can't wait. But yeah, so it was a band called Old Again, and that was the first band that I'd ever gone like on tour with.
Okay.
So that was fun. I learned a lot in that band, but then like our singer left. Our drummer, I think Morgan actually moved before we broke up, Dom, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, our drummer wanted to move to Seattle for whatever reason. So we were like, okay, well, we'll just kind of like fade or dissolve a little bit. And in that time, we had done 2 tours with Broadside, because our album, whenever we got signed, we were signed to Stay Sick Recordings, which is like a subsidiary of Artery Recordings at the time.
Okay.
And our albums came out on the same day.
Oh, wow.
For Victory and us from Stay Sick. Yeah. So we did like an album release tour that Dom is going to show you the flyer for right now.
Oh, cool.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. That was actually the Broadside album release show.
With such gold, yeah.
Oh, there.
With
Okay, now you're on the big
gold.
screen, Dom. Let me see it again. Sorry.
Oh,
You're on the big screen now.
that right there.
Oh, rad.
Let's go.
This is Old Again. But
There it is.
That was their hometown release show on our tour together.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so we met them there. And then as Old Again was like starting to slow down, Broadside came through with Rome from the UK. They played at what was then Back Booth, now it's Soundbar in Orlando. And I went and hung out with them. We went to downtown Disney, and they were telling us about how their bassist had just recently left and they had to fill in for that tour. And they're like, yeah, he's got like a real job where he's making like really good money. So playing in bands is kind of like a hobby for him. Oh, okay. So he's probably not going to be with us after this tour because he has a normal job and he likes money. And in the same conversation, they had dropped the hint to me that they were going to be playing Warped Tour. So this was in December of 2015. They were going to be playing Warped in 2016 for the first time.
Wow.
And I jokingly was like, yo, if you guys like, if you want me to like play bass for you guys for that, I'll be cool with that. Like that would be fine. And Ollie was just like, okay. And he was like, okay, well, do you want to do it? And then, of course, I got stage fright. And I said, but I was like, I said, I'll talk to the guys about it in Old Again, but it's probably going to be a yes. So I told Old Again about it. They're like, yeah, you should do it. Cause if you don't, you're dumb. So I did that. Yeah, and the rest is history, I guess. As cliche as that sounds, like I've just been broadsiding it up across the globe,
making hundreds of thousands of dollars
in Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
my son plays that game. He's all over that game. Oh,
it's so great.
Oh yeah, he loves it. It's funny. Plays on. I think it's for Switch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's all over it. Hey Dom, so how'd you get into music?
So since we've been like quarantined lately, I've been going through a bunch of like old photos, which this ties into it. And I thought that I would have told you up until like a week ago that I started playing music when I was in like middle school. But I've been finding a ton of pictures of me as like 2 or 3 years old, and I have a little like ukulele or a little guitar in my hand. So I guess I've been playing since I was younger. My parents always like, I guess, provided that for me. I remember when we moved to Florida when I was like 6 years old, they got me an acoustic guitar.
Okay.
And I hated it because everyone else in my family, like extended family, cousins and uncles and stuff, all played drums.
Oh.
So I was like, I want to play drums because everybody else plays drums. Yeah. And so when I was like probably 11, I got like a first act drum kit, and I was awful. I mean, I could not figure it out. So then I switched back to guitar. And I kind of just played, like on my own in my room until I was, I don't know, probably like 14, 15. And I went to a concert. I went to go see this band called May. I don't know if you've remember them, ever heard of them. They're kind of like
a pop punk band-ish?
Like alt.
I want to say I've heard the name, and I want to say I can associate around the same era as like those.
Yeah, they were like probably like 2006 was their peak. They had an album called The Everglow, and it's
they were signed to Tooth and Nail. If that helps you date when.
Okay.
Relevant.
That makes sense. Okay.
But I went to go see them, and I was just so like, wow, live music is cool.
Yeah.
And I think I got the idea in my head that I was gonna start trying to play more, and I'd have my friends come over in my garage, and we'd play like the Ramones and AC/DC and stuff like that. But like Pat, I didn't like join my first like band until after I graduated high school. So in like 2010, I started going out and playing like real shows in front of people that weren't just friends who were coming over to my garage or whatever,
What made you decide to start a band when you were done with high school? Like, did you always want to, and it was just timing, or?
I guess it could have been a little bit of a few things. I decided after high school that I didn't really want to go away to college. So I stayed in town and went to community college, which allowed me a lot more free time. I wasn't really like allowed to go like to the downtown area of Orlando where all of the venues were when I was in high school. But as soon as I graduated, I could do whatever I wanted. Yeah. So I was able to start getting more into that scene, and really like I was allowed to be in a band. Does that make sense?
It totally does. Yeah.
So I started playing with a band there, kind of like Pat said, like a kind of like post-hardcore kind of thing, and it was really cool. We got to play like some cool shows, but we didn't do much touring, just like Florida weekend runs. And that's when I met Pat, and for the longest time I thought Pat hated me because he is a pretty intimidating person up front. He's like a pretty big guy, and he just looks intimidating. And he just would never like really talk to me more than like, hey, but I was persistent. He
still does,
and
honestly.
Yeah, I know he still does that. But I was persistent, and then eventually Pat and I were in a band together, the one prior to Broadside, and that's when I think I really cracked him. We went to Georgia for a weekend for a show, and we went to this place called Roswell Mill Rapids, and which is just like a river that goes through a part of this town in Georgia. Okay. And we were like climbing I was like climbing trees and like swinging on branches over the cliffs, over the river. And Pat kept on grabbing me to bring me back to land. And that's when I realized that he did like me. And I think our friendship has been blossoming ever since then.
If he would have let go of you, then you would have known that all along you're right. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think to sum it up, I started playing music just because of watching other people do it, and it really sparked something in me that I did not know was there prior. But
very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
Hey Jeff, so how'd you get into music?
I would say for me, I've kind of always been around it, or like felt like this is what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. At like a super early age, obviously something I don't remember. My parents would tell me stories when I was like 2 and 3. I'd be beating on pots and pans, like with wooden spoons and stuff. Just, the classic, drummer, as an infant, if you will. And my parents got tired of it. So they're like, all right, you keep breaking all our stuff. So we're just gonna give you a drum set now. So I think I was like 4 or 5. They got me a drum kit, and I just obviously didn't really know what I was doing. So would just bang on the drums like at appropriate hours, because my dad worked from home at the same time. So there was a limited window I could play, and it'd be okay. But after a while, when they saw that I was actually being able to pick up some rhythm and that kind of stuff, they ended up getting me to play drums at church. That was kind of like my intro into like playing live music, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I'd play drums at like my local church. Then we'd go visit my grandparents, and they would be like, "Hey, you're the guest, if you will, come play on a song or something." Mm-hmm. So just like
got beats for God.
Rich for Jesus,
right? That was like, I guess, the thing that really was like, oh, this is fun. I enjoyed like the excitement of it, and plus it was one of those things like I didn't like know any of the songs, so it was like us feeding off the rest of the band members. So the kind of like freestyle of of drumming, if you will, quote unquote, where I would follow along with them and play off of other members, really kind of excited me and kind of pushed me to keep going. But as I got older, middle school, met up with some friends. We're like, hey, let's start a Green Day cover band, if you will. So we just play like Green Day songs and all that stuff. We started getting older. It just constantly kind of repeats with different friend groups. Now we're going to play Blink-182. And in high school, I joined. I was all throughout this time, I was in like school band and stuff as well. So that was helping with the technical aspect of it, with rudiments, proper, technique, if you will.
Sure. Yeah.
But after high school, I was like, I obviously still want to do this. I've been doing it for so long at that point, and still now. But I was like, all right, I'm going to march in college. Marched for a year in college in the drum line, played snare and all the fun stuff.
Wow.
But once I hit, I think it was 21. At the time I was going to do like DCI Drum Corps International and stuff, but they have an age limit at like 21 or 22, and I had just crossed that. So I was like, all right, well, can't march anymore. How else can I really play?
You like aged out of it, huh?
Exactly, yeah. So I went back to playing more drum sets, started playing more bands and stuff around South Carolina, where I'm from. Mm-hmm. Then decided I wanted to move to Orlando, how I met the rest of these lovely guys, and wanted to pursue like recording and producing and stuff. That I was just getting into the audio production side of things and stuff. So I liked that aspect as like a different avenue of music. It wasn't just the performance aspect, but it was also just like the creation of it and whatnot.
Sure.
So got into that. I went to Full Sail University, did, the whole program, all that stuff.
Wow.
during that time, I was in a local band down there called The Year I Disappear, is how I actually met Pat and Dom. We played a bunch of shows with them around Orlando and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
And from there, after a while, I forget how long it was, but actually the show Pat was mentioning, where Broadside came down with Rome and a few other bands. My band just finished recording an EP, and we're like, hey, let's see if we can hop on this show, and ended up opening it. And I was like, hey, Ollie, you guys need a place to crash. I have a big house and studio and things, and plenty of space for the homies.
Not what he said. That won me over. He said, I have a pug.
I did. Yeah. That's probably wanted to sound like that.
Steph, I was so jealous that you guys got to play that show, because Pat and I really wanted to play that show, and they're like, nah, sorry, it's full up. And I was like, I was so jealous.
Yeah. So it just, I guess it was one of those things just kind of worked out. Where I met some of my best friends, and we play that show. For the music side of things, it's obviously, they asked me to play, I think about a year later or so, asked me to fill in.
Yeah.
And similar situation, I let my band know. I was like, hey, Broadside wants me to come on tour with them. They're like, yo, that's sick. Do it. And since we're a local band, we have, a couple shows, a month, if you will. So I did that, came back. They asked me to come again. They were like, hold up now. All right, we got to talk. So decided it was just like I wanted to, pursue, playing with Broadside more, and, take music a little more seriously on the, professional and the business aspect of things, if you will. Mm-hmm. So that kind of, I guess, brings it up to like full circle. Not as crazy, as of like a storyline, but it was one of those things like has always been instilled around me with music, whether it's drums, guitar, whatever it may be. I was just always just intrigued by melodies, the instrumentation, just the art of creating music. I thought it was something that I was supposed to do, and I'm here.
Yeah. Do you still produce? Like, as far as like the production side of it goes, like when you guys record, have you produced on Broadside and stuff?
Yeah, actually, the new single we released, "Foolish Believer," it was a lot of like collaboration. Since obviously we live far away, so a lot of things I was like sending just like iPhone videos to Ollie. Hey, I have this crazy idea at like 2 a.m. And he'd go, oh, that's cool. Then I would send it to Dom. He would, give me his feedback and stuff. But I'm really into like the production side of things, obviously. So I just I went crazy with it and just added like Dom mentioned this once, I think in another interview. But obviously with the new music, it's very like high energy production driven. So we have, your standard guitar, bass, vocals, that kind of stuff. But I wanted to add a layer of energy to it that I don't think we've been able to, tap into as much in the last two records. So I wanted to do that and really take us, the new music to like a new level of not necessarily just quality, but just production and like vibe, for lack of a better word. So
sure,
is actually what the word you're looking for.
What?
Chutzpah.
It's actually pretty crazy because so we play live to a backing track that has like our synthesizers and like effects, reverse snares and stuff. But listening to the backing track for our new song "Foolish Believer" compared to like a song, a previous song like "Paradise," you could listen to "Foolish Believer's" backing track and it almost sounds like a full song.
Oh wow!
Whereas like Jeff really added like layers and layers and layers and layers. When we were in the studio, Jeff came with like he had all of these synthesizers and pads and everything already ready, and the guy we recorded with, Seth, was so impressed. He was like looking at Jeff. He's like, "Man, you made all of this already? Usually we have to spend 2 weeks like making
building all that
separately."
Yeah.
Post-production shit. Yeah.
Wow. I want to go back to you, Ollie. Do you go by Ollie more than Oliver? Your name says Oliver on stuff, and they're calling you Ollie. I just wanted to check.
I mean, you know, Ollie, if you like me. Oliver, if I'm in trouble. So
okay, Ollie. I'll stay with Ollie then.
Yeah, Ollie works.
Cool. Wait, so you joined Broadside before they had signed to Victory Records?
Yeah.
So so they had a vocalist. You were talking about how you covered, was it the Rihanna song that drew them in? Like,
yeah, Umbrella.
Originally? Okay.
I did that, and then I covered a old Emerosa song.
Okay.
And then which is funny. And then I covered Stand By Me. Like a ukulele rendition. And I guess they liked my their vocalist was trash, I'll be honest. Broadside's vocal was straight garbage. But whatever. So you know, and then he left, and then I joined the band, and then shit just started happening, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the coolest thing that's ever happened to me is our old drummer, his name is Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
He left to have a whole, can I say bad words?
Of course you can.
Yeah, he left to have a whole ass baby, and he's a father now, and he's a great father. He's got a whole barber. He's got a whole career now, so I don't feel bad talking about him. But he was like, yo, he told me one of these things that he showed his parents one of my Stand By Me cover, and they were like, you got to get this guy. And that's one of the greatest compliments I've ever received. So yeah, they found I'm pretty much like Justin Bieber. I was found on YouTube.
That's so awesome. So they found you on YouTube. Like were your videos getting a lot of views and stuff? Like, how did they seek you out?
It was all right. I mean, it was like 4,000, 5,000 views, but I think they were just looking for what were they? I don't even know what the hell he was looking for. I think. Yeah, because I didn't know anything about metadata or anything, so I didn't have any tags. It was probably just tattooed singer or something, you know? Maybe he
stumbled upon him. Yeah,
cool tattooed singing boy.
But yeah, so, I don't know how he found me, but
so they found you, and you said you wrote Storyteller. That was the first song that you wrote with them.
So they had me doing their songs, and I rolled up and I was like, man, this is not my style. See, the thing is they're super pop punk in the beginning, very and you know, and I'm like,
yeah,
not my vibe, but this is bad. Okay, this sounds like I was in a broken relationship, but in my head I was like, I'm in here and I'm gonna change them, right? I can change them. I can fix them. That's where my head was at. And then I went in and I met the guys, and they were super cool. And once we got past that awkward, hey, show up to practice and read this other guy's lyrics.
Yeah.
I rolled up and I was like, I don't want to die today. I am da, da, da. But it was and the guy was like, hey, can you try reading it without the lyric sheet? And here's a funny story. I just freestyled the whole time. And he was like, yeah, that sounds sick. It wasn't even their lyrics, bro.
Oh, really?
So, you know, but then once we started getting that writing, the first song we literally ever wrote together was Storyteller.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I think we recorded that, and if I'm not mistaken, maybe one of their older songs, and I just sang it with a different melody. But what happened was Andrew and I, the drummer, we sat down and we emailed every single person. We had all of our contacts from Ice Girls and stuff like that, Maddie from A Loss for Words, all these people that they had known about through selling CDs. We got their email list and we sat down and emailed, I think it was 640 people.
Wow.
In Storyteller. And next thing, 4 days later, we woke up and it was on Alternative Press Japan. And
wow.
So it had gained a little bit of hype, and then that's kind of where that had started. And it was funny because I was I still tell that story on stage. We put $200 into a music video for this. This is a good story for you, Dom, because you didn't actually know this. The girl Laura who shot our music video, she now is a professional photographer and shoots for Bon Appetit. So.
What?
Her career also blew me. Another fun story: the girl that's in Puzzle Pieces, the music video for Puzzle Pieces. and she's dancing. And she's amazing. And I paid her $250 to dance for 7 hours on this crazy idea that I had for a music video. And now she's a Los Angeles Lakers dancer.
She was also a backup dancer for Katy Perry.
Katy Perry, excuse me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Say Mom, say Pat.
That's awesome. So tell me about signing with Victory.
Signing with Victory.
Yeah.
What do you want to know?
I want to know how was that all off of Storyteller and just getting on Alt Press in Japan and stuff?
Yes, exactly. We were kind of scouted out. The video was doing really well. I think it had like 75,000 views organically. And I mean, in 2012, 13, whatever. Mm-hmm. It was 13. That was kind of sick, you know? Yeah, I don't even think you can monetize then. But so they reached out. We were supposed to be signed to Pure Noise Records, but one of the guys, the original guitar player, left. And then I think they were kind of weary, and they were like, oh, you guys are going to lose that Storyteller sound. So they didn't sign us. That's fine. It hurts a little still. But so basically what happened was the band had broken up. The drummer was moving to California, and we played our last show in Richmond, and it was huge. It popped off. And then the next day he moves, and we're like, okay, Broadside's not doing anything. We have this single that's doing well on the internet.
Right.
Grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean shit, right? Mm-hmm. So it's doing well. We're like, okay, Andrew moves. The other guy had left. And I went on tour with this band called July. I filled in for this band called July, and they were on tour with Hit the Lights, I think, was the band that they were touring with. And
you were singing for them?
Yeah, I was singing for them. And this is a funny story. I didn't know any of their lyrics. So the first 3 shows, I was reading the paper on the floor. Dude, people are a little stupid. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. Because my head, I was like, if I go up there and I put on a good enough show and I sing it with confidence, they're like, and it was like an intro level band, right? So it's like, that's how I got away with it, because the person in the band didn't even know their own lyrics. I mean, come on. Delivery. But and they were also Major League was on that tour. But anyway, so what am I even talking about right now? Oh yeah, we got the call the very last day of tour. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go home so bummed. My band ain't shit. I just did this huge tour with the band that had some success. They were able to buy every band a hotel room at the end of tour. I was like, I wanted that. That was my dream since I was handing out those whack ass mix CDs in high school. And we got the email, and it's from Tony Brummel of Victory Records, and he said, hey, I'm interested in signing your band. I want you to come to Chicago, play some songs. One week, I called all the guys, and I said, hey, we should sign this, and we should go do this. And they were all like, what? One of our guys was like, I'm in California. And I was like, you got a credit card. So what happened was, boom, 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 boom. We went up there. We drove to Chicago. What is the drive to Chicago? 12 hours. Nervous as fuck, hungry as hell, eating fucking chips like a fiend.
Not much has changed.
Not much has changed. A virtual factory in the middle of downtown Chicago. No one's in there. I'm talking to the guy. Excuse me, sir. I'm supposed to play a show for Victory Records, and they're like, "Fuck you," and I'm like, "I don't know." So we show up. They're like, "Okay, just set up." There was a stage in there, and we set up. And bruh, how about all Victory Records walks in? They're like. We had this whole thing. I was going to talk about, what I was going to dance, what I was going to do. Hey guys, right? You guys ready? Whole thing was, Tony comes up to me. He's like, 3 songs, 3 of your best songs, go. And I'm like, I'm not alone. I fell down in the middle of the song and got back up. I tripped. And I kept it laughing. They're all walking around the room listening.
Oh my goodness.
Like, this is how you listen to music. Ready? Putting their head, like, covering one ear and shit, like it's fucking idol. And then 2 days later, they were like, yeah, we want to sign you guys. And then I was like, guys, we should do this. Boom, bam, boom. And that's how we did it. And the reason I did it is because Taking Back Sunday, Thursday, those are my 2 favorite bands. I loved the energy of Taking Back Sunday. I wanted to have the storytelling of Thursday, and I wanted to be as cute and awesome as Adam Lazar from Taking Back Sunday.
Sure, yeah. That's an incredible story. So the people that were in there, you said they're just people that worked for Victory?
Yeah, so
Or
then
they were like A&R reps?
It was like A&R fucking merch, goddamn person at the front desk. So the whole time I'm like, yo, these must be some millionaires.
Yeah, like the suits.
Bro, I was like, you played me. But it was pretty smart because they were in it. It was intimidating enough for me to. I do well under pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
that's crazy.
Like, I'm gonna come and shoot your house up. I'd be panicking. But if they put a gun on my face, I'd be like, karate. Kind of man I am.
So when you signed to Victory, you guys put out Old Bones.
We put out Old Bones.
And did they put you on tour right away? Like, were you touring with were you supporting other Victory bands?
That was with Old Again.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And
they hooked you up with that tour? Like, did Victory set you guys all up together? Like, how did that all happen? Do you remember?
We were looking for like different booking, I think, wasn't it, guys?
Well, so we had already toured once together before you guys were signed. So that's how we met, and then we both got signed to different labels at the same time.
Right, same time.
And I
drop on the same day.
So I was like, hey, we should do a tour together. And I don't even remember what I just threw it out into the world, like I think I texted Niles, the old guitar player.
Yeah.
And everyone seemed into the idea, but
that's cool.
And Ryan Hybendell booked it, right?
No, I don't think he did. He booked our first one, but I think we talked about him the other night while we were playing Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Tyler?
Damien? Okay, yeah. No.
I can't remember his name, but either. He booked it. He booked it and then quit halfway through, like us actually doing the tour.
Yeah, that tour was shot, but we had a lot of fun. And clearly made lifelong friendships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because obviously you knew how you interacted with each other on the road because you had already done it a couple of times before.
Well, also
joining.
So Broadside's van broke down probably like.
Oh, this is a good story.
Like probably like a week and a half like into the tour. There's still like a week and a half left at least, and their van broke down. And,
like blew up, not broke down. Shit.
Blew up. Sorry, like out of commission.
Yeah.
And they like rented a car to get to the show in Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas. Yeah. To an old guitar player and Ollie, and they were like, "Hey, can we like just ride with you guys for the rest of the tour?" And we said, "Yeah, of course." But I mean,
so they played acoustic every night.
Yeah, on the way.
Really?
We learned how to play the songs acoustic. We roll up, literally, I think an hour after our set was supposed to be, or whatever it was. We roll up and we're like, all right, let's just do this. I've never sang to an acoustic, and we were just rocking with it. And Old Again was nice enough to let us in the back of their van. I mean, we were low key anyways, but that shit was hot. They didn't have any AC.
It was definitely
our windows
rough.
didn't roll down.
It was so bad. I didn't even want to be in there, and it was my band.
That also lets me know personally, like, okay, this is my level of touring. Like, this is what I can endure. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
would never do that shit now. But then it was like...
we just did that last summer.
You know what I mean, though. I'm different, though. I have credit now, okay? Back then, I was like, you know what? This is the dream, man. Sorry. But yeah, so that's stuff like that is how we bonded. It's DIY with a little bit of push. It's kind of how this whole thing started. If you get what I'm saying, it might seem glamorous, or people might be fooled by the way I sing or our stylistic choices, but really there's a lot of DIY, and not in a cool way. Like a lot of like, I have to fucking hustle to get here and do crazy shit on both accounts. And I think that's kind of why like we all work well. And because at the core of it, it's like, if you remember where this started, or shirtless, sweaty summers, at the end of it all, you realize like either I do this or I disappear into the void of everyone trying to do this. So. Mm-hmm. And that's why I work well with these guys, because I know them. They know my weaknesses. They know my strengths, and vice versa, because we've done this shit for years, you know?
Yeah. So from that album, Old Bones, you put out Paradise. And with that record, were you all together at that point, or who is, or were you
No,
the only one on the recording again?
So we were. I had just moved to LA, so I got a little bit of ego, right? We had just done Warped Tour, and was it before Warped Tour, Pat?
Tell me about Warped Tour real quick. Sorry, I forgot. I passed that over. I want to know, like, how did you guys get on the Warped Tour?
That was the best time of our life. Basically, what happened was Kevin Lyman fucked with Broadside because I don't know why, but we literally
in a good way. That he fucked with Broadside. Not he was fucking with us.
Yeah, right.
He, was, like,
he actually wanted to. Yeah.
Like, hey, like, heard about this. A lot of people have been passing this along. I think fans have been like, when you can request bands and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the case, and then he just kind of saw that sort of, I don't know. He saw something because
he said 2000.
Sorry,
was that 2015 tour? Is that what you said?
16.
Sorry,
2016.
Okay.
And honestly, that tour changed our lives. Really, I think it put us in front of so many people, like hundreds of people. Just kept going, and I mean, it gives you a little, when you're like, yeah, we played Warped Tour.
Yeah. I mean,
and then enough for him to invite us back for the last one in 2018. So
wow, you guys got to play the last Warped Tour. That's really awesome. That 2016 one, were you on the whole tour?
We were on the whole tour 2016 and 2018. We were only on the second half, but majority.
But it
was
still, like the more shows of it, like the people who got the first offer, like the first half, I guess, played like a week less shows than we did.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah,
yeah. Because for that final one, they kind of tried to get everybody that had influenced that tour to do something or play at least a date or two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. So sorry. So go back to Paradise. So you moved to LA.
Oh, so I moved to LA. We got a little bit of ego. The songs were more same promoting the idea of perseverance, something that's always fluent in my dialogue and just like growth and chasing your dreams. And the whole concept was just like, oh, you can do this. Cause my girlfriend and I moved to California with like no money, and everybody's like, well, you got to be rich. And I was like, no, I'm going to sleep in my car if I have to.
Yeah.
Stupid fucking thing to think, but that's just where we were at, but so I was kind of on this high kick, and I was like, I want to do something, but then I got fooled into thinking I should make a poppier album because it'll sell more. Right. Mm-hmm. And then at the time, I feel people talk about that record and they enjoy it. But when I listen to that record, I hear the differences between the band. I hear this because there was 3 people in the band at that time. I hear this attitude, and then I hear my own. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's just conflicting ideas all on one record, which sucks because that could have been an opportunity and a stepping point. At that time, we weren't really seeing eye to eye with the label. They were kind of like, what the fuck are you guys writing the shit? And I was like,
was that with Victory still?
Yeah. And I was like, I mean, they were cool with it, but they were just kind of like, this doesn't make sense. Aren't you guys like a aggressive pop punk band? And we were like, yeah, I was 4 years ago, So we put out that record. I'm proud of that record, but it's not my favorite record. And then we put that out, and we did get some bomb ass tours off of it though. So we toured with Silverstein, Real Friends.
Wow.
Some other shit. I can't even think of it. But it was
Slam Dunk in the UK.
Yeah, Slam Dunk.
Yeah,
some good stuff.
We went to the UK for the first time, literally the day after you guys finished recording it.
Yep.
So say like Friday, they were in the studio in California. They had finished recording whatever, like 11:30 p.m. Friday. The next morning, Saturday, they were on a flight for us to go to the UK and play in the UK for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah,
that was some rock star shit. And then at that time, Jeff, were you? No, you did not do that first one.
No, he didn't come.
No, not that first one. No.
Somewhere along after that, the band really just drifted apart. I think after that, okay, and then these guys slowly started joining into that process. So the process between Paradise and obviously the new record has been a longer gap because of all the different shit.
Yeah. So with Paradise, Pat, you played on that 2016 Warped Tour. Is that that's the one that they asked you to jump on? And but you weren't officially in the band at that point, because didn't Paradise come out in 2017? Like, you didn't play on that record?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I did
so
not
you just
play
kind
on
of
that
filled
record.
in.
And then literally the first day of that UK tour was my birthday, and we played a sold out show at the Underworld in London with Confidence, and they asked me to be in the band on stage.
Really?
And
wow.
Said happy birthday, bitch.
So happy birthday. You want to be in the band? I said,
this was his response. I'll think about it. Bro, he humiliated me, boy, in our first London
Bro, I had to, you know, I had to do one of these on the stage. I even answered into the microphone. But yeah.
Had any of you guys been to Europe before, going there?
No.
Or on that tour? How was that?
No.
Was that like exciting? Was it kind of terrifying being in a totally new country?
It was insane. It was so cool.
I don't know if you drink or do drugs, but imagine it's like at that level where you're like, I'm feeling really confident and I'm just gonna let it roll. That's what
sure.
Because I was like, I know that I'm gonna get to the next show. I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna pay for anything, but we here, baby. Harry Potter.
Because money is different.
That's my headset.
So you guys had like you just kind of got at that point. You got a chance to you didn't have to drive yourself around.
No.
Through that
That's
tour
when things started slow. We started seeing that side of the world where like we had people that were like, yo, let me shoot for you. Let me drive you guys around. And we were like, oh, so we can start giving some of our money out for these services that are actually practical. That's the first time that I started noticing like we're doing all right. You know
okay.
We're not like killing it, but we were like breaking at least even, you know what I mean? Or somewhere near even.
Yeah. So going next, Dom or you, Jeff, in the band?
I think, I started playing. I never. I'm still. I'm gonna say this. I never got an official invitation. It was just one of those things. They did a tour after Warped 16 with Like Pacific. They asked me to fill in, and I was like, of course, I'll do that. I wasn't able to do the first UK. Then
the one that Pat went on.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And I forget what the next tour was. Like I missed
the next one was Real Friends, I think.
Yeah. So I wasn't able to do that because I was like moving and all that fun stuff. So they had another guy filling in. But after that tour, they're like, "Hey, you want to come back and play?" I was like, "Yes, I would love that." Then it was just like, all right, cool. We got a next tour. All right, we got a next tour. And I never got. It's like, hey, you want to be in a band? You want to be in a band? So I was just like, hey, I'm gonna stay around until they tell me to leave. So I just kept going out with them, and now I'm here and legally in the band without even asking.
He's signed a new contract. He can't leave.
Oh, there you go. Because on my first tour that I did with the band, they straight up just threw a dodgeball at me and said, "Welcome to the band." Remember that guy? Remember?
Yeah.
We were at Victory for the Summer Stain music video, and I was playing pinball upstairs because I was unneeded. And Jeff left. Oh, there he is. Sorry,
okay.
I was playing pinball upstairs, and then I got a text saying, "Hey, come down here." And then you guys threw a dodgeball at me and said, "Welcome to the band." So I got asked, or I got told, rather.
Told you're in the band.
Yeah.
So one person got asked on stage on their birthday. One just became part of the band without being asked. And you were pegged into the band. I like that.
That's kind of how I like to look at it. Okay, so imagine you're a single man, okay, and then you start dating a woman with 2 kids, right? You come into the relationship strong. You're like, I will accept you and your kid. You accept one. The second one is like, okay, I'll accept you. And then the third one is actually yours. So you're like, I love you.
Oh my. So tell me about the new song that you guys have out. When did you guys start writing songs together? If you already had Paradise out by the time everybody's joined the band. Were you guys touring on that?
Yeah, we were just cruising between the old songs for a hot ass minute until it literally was driving me crazy. I don't know about the other guys. They're a lot more nice than I am. But my ass was going crazy.
Well, you probably had been playing them for forever at that point.
I'd be at practice.
Oh yeah, he been playing for way longer.
I hate that. I hate it. But so we were cruising on those for a minute, and then I'm laying on my tummy like a sleepover. Anyway,
I like your Kerr poster.
Oh, thank you so much. Hell yeah. But so we've been playing those too damn long. So the writing actually is a newer process. We didn't actually even think about that. We were like, yeah, we should probably start writing after, what was it, 2018 winter tour where the last OG Broadside member, which is fucking irrelevant, but I'll say it for the sake of this story, left. And we were like, oh, what are we going to do? So Jeff came down to Virginia. He had been doing some writing. We're like, we don't know what's going to happen. So we were cooped up in this apartment right here. I just moved back from LA, back in Richmond, where the band started, just trying to figure some shit out. And then we were writing, and I was like, yo, and I started feeling personally confident again, for the first time in the whole, since what the fuck ever happened and whatever in my life. And I was really happy with the songs and where they were going. And, the guys were like vibing too. And we all just started building the record almost like in quarantine, as if we were in quarantine.
Oh, wow.
It was like the postal service.
Right.
Oh,
exactly.
really? You just email each other tracks and stuff, or bits of songs?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
And so it's writing together. The first time we've ever written together was for this record. And so it's kind of like, oh, this is what we're capable of doing as us four.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Well, I love the new song.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you.
Are you guys are you still signed to Victory Records? Like, where are you at as far as
we're not. So we're not.
label goes?
We actually just signed to SharpTone Records.
Okay.
And so
is that out in the public yet? I didn't see anything about that.
Yeah, we announced that with the single, but probably put more attention on hyping up the single. Then so you might.
Okay.
Honestly,
okay.
No. So yeah, we're on a new label.
And how did that? Did they seek you out, or were you negotiating with people? How did you decide on them?
So it's our manager's his name is Shawn. He's been managing for us for a while, but trying to help us like get tours and just being like, helping us connect to other bands and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're working from a distance, and he has his own label.
Oh, okay.
So he was like, yo, so we get off we finish the record. We find out Victory was being acquired by a giant conglomerate label. That giant conglomerate label says, we don't have a place for you here. I was like, cool. We just finished the record. And they're like, okay. Basically, for lack of better words, they were like, all right, so basically, we're just going to give you the record back and you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Wow.
They expected me to be like, oh my God, I'm over. But my stubborn ass was like, yeah, give me that.
Yeah, and this is the new one.
New record.
Right.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, what are we going to do, boys? We toss around a couple ideas. There's some label interest because now, literally, as soon as people start hearing things, they're like, they start telling their friends, and their friends, photographers, start telling their producers, that whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then we were getting hit up, and there was a couple things on the table, but then our manager, Shawn, was like, yo, why don't you just sign to my record label? We could just do this, boom, boom, come to an agreement, whatever you guys want. You know how I work. And like I said, and I explained, I really like working with people that I've known that won't fuck you over, because truly everyone is cruel in this world, in this industry. So when you do meet something good, you got to hold on to it and give it its true value and it's in the time that it's worth. So I was like, okay, cool. Shawn, I trust you. You know how we are. You know how I am as a person, and let's just do this. So we signed the deal. We give them the contract. Here we are.
Wow.
Like, the song's coming out. We've already filmed 3 music videos.
Wow.
Coming out soon. So the shit is just rolling. It's like we took a year and a half to figure out. It's just
what we were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
What we wanted to do.
Exactly. I don't know if you're spiritual or religious or whatever, but it's just one of those things where if the universe was just like here, and we're like, fuck it, let's just keep it rolling.
Yeah.
From the jump, I've been, gas pedal. So it's like I'm not giving up now. I'm 31, and this is my it's my dream. And
yeah,
well, you know, we've all put in work, whether we need it or not. So we're just kind of like, well, we got this free record, so
I know that's so. I can't believe they just handed it over to you guys. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. What happened.
They were
just like
they're gonna be kicking themselves here when it comes out.
I'm praying. I hope they.
I hope so.
That'd be nice.
I hope they reach back out and try to re-sign us, and we can say no.
Or what if they're like,
or make them give you a huge signing bonus?
Yeah.
So tell me about "Foolish Believer." That's the only song that you've put out thus far, right?
Right.
Yeah. The new album. And what made you guys choose that one? What as out of the record? Why did you guys pick that song?
I think personally, it's like it's the song that makes the most sense right now. The album itself is very dynamic, but also very structured to a sound. Like it all makes sense. It's like a beautiful sandwich. There's some elements in there that are like, what? That's weird shit. But together, it makes like this fantastic, you know, delectable thing. So there.
It was almost like that was like the safest one to put out in a way, where it was different enough to showcase like our growth as a band, like all the changes we've gone through, but also still kind of sound like what we used to sound like, so we wouldn't like lose people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And not weirded out, you know, because people are so fucking judgmental and so quick now. They're like, oh, I missed the whole Broadside. And you're like, bitch.
Yeah.
Well, I think Jeff made a good point when we were tossing around which ones to release first. And he was like, the lyrics in the song kind of really speak to what we're trying to do as a band, or like where we're at as a band. Like, I'm a foolish believer. I know my days are numbered. So we kind of put it out just as a representation of where we've kind of been for the last year and a half, because everything was so touch and go for a while. We didn't really know what was going to happen. People, you know, leaving and tours being canceled, and our label being bought out, them saying, well, we don't know what we want to do with this record yet. Before they agreed to, like, you know, give it back.
Give it back to you.
Yeah.
When you guys were on Victory, maybe Ollie, you could answer this. Did they tell you what songs they thought you should make a video for? And like, did they choose the single per se?
Yeah. So basically what happened was they would, we'd give our vote, and then they would kind of run it through the mill, and they would be like, we think this and this. I never ran into a situation personally where I didn't agree with them, what they were saying, other than one scenario. But they were like this. And I think like the song that really blew us up was this song called Coffee Talk. And that was probably the song that I felt the most confident going in. That was the only, oh Lord, that was the only song we wrote as a band, other than Storyteller, that was completely untouched by like outside hands. Before we went out to LA to record with these really cool people, and we wrote Storyteller and Coffee Talk and another one, but that changed eventually. But so to me, I was always like, this feels organic, and it did really well. So after we put that out as a single, I felt, okay, this is like, despite what I've heard or whatever, like, I feel confident moving forward with these business decisions. Because that was the thing, is like I really had to learn the business decisions, not the this is my favorite song. I had to learn what the fuck, how do people consume music? You see what I'm saying? So
totally.
With a hook, or with a thing, or with a, you know, speaking a different language or some shit. And they swallow it easier because they're like, this is different, but safe enough for me to enjoy. It's just the way that consumers are. And we're us now. You know, we're young men. We're trying to establish our future. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Totally.
We're in it, all in. So we're trying to be like, let's start making some business decisions, and less like, holy shit, we got a free record. Let's act fucking silly.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was curious about, because now I would assume, I don't know if this is true, but since you're signed to SharpTone Records, which is your manager's label, you probably have full creative control as far as what songs you want to put out and make videos for and stuff.
Like, he'll cast his opinion, but ultimately every single decision we make, including for the very first time in our entire career as a band, our own merch store, we have complete control over everything we do, down to like retaining the rights to our music. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's him coming to us being like, what do you guys want to do? I think this, and we're like, boom, boom, and he's like, cool.
Yeah, because he obviously trusts you and likes what you're doing if he wants to manage your band. And then, but you actually have to say, instead of like Victory being like, you know what, I don't think Foolish Believer should be the first release.
Hey, let me ask my entire staff. And you're like,
oh, yeah, let me wait and see if what everybody in the whole building thinks.
Actually, see what the guy in accounting thinks that you guys should put out.
Right.
I'm very like this. Like, you can ask the guys. I'm very like, hey, I need a decision by tonight. Because I'm very just like, I'm a crazy person, but so it's nice to be able to keep it within this pocket, because like I know these are my best friends, so it's like I know how they're going to respond, and I also know the type of decisions to make if they're not around. So to me, it's very comforting to be like, okay, this is all within the vein of what Broadside is, whereas before it was just like, things keep happening, and now we're on Warped Tour. Now it's like, I know what it take to establish what we're holding on to. And less desperately, I should say, we're holding on to it because it feels attainable, not holding on to it because it feels like we have to.
Yeah. When you guys wrote this and recorded this record, did you work with anybody? You said this album didn't have other people's hands on it, like, or no, you were saying those two songs didn't. Like,
no. I mean, the last records did have. I mean, the first two records did. Everybody was trying to poke their head and be like, "You should do this. You should do this."
Oh, sure. Okay.
But record, it was literally us. Like, we went in there, and I was expecting Seth to be like, "I'm thinking this," but by the time we were done with the record, all of us were like, "Is this record going to be good?" Because it was just us. Like, that's where we were, which is a good thing. But we were like, bro, Seth didn't try to put auto-tune on shit.
Which was
cool. Going off of that, most of the songs, like, obviously we changed, melodies, certain things here and there, but it was nice because I'm sure Ollie can attest to this, for the, like, at the end of the recording process, going back, because I obviously had the Dropbox full of, like, the demos and stuff that were just, like, just cheesy lyrics or whatever, like bad, programmed drums, whatever it may be.
Oh, the drums.
Obviously, they're on the record now. But for the most part, like the overall concept of the song, besides like the quality of it, stayed the same. There are certain parts, all right, we're going to cut this shorter and whatnot, but for the most part, everything was pretty, like, what we had in the demos came to the high quality production level, but just obviously recorded better, with actual, drums, with actual lyrics and that kind of stuff, as compared to just humming melodies and, certain things like that. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
That's what trying to say. He's the shit. That's basically what he's trying to say.
And honestly, I'm not going to argue with him.
I agree. I think one of the coolest things to watch was see Jeff, not to put him on blast, but to see Jeff validated through this whole process. You see what I'm saying? Because he was like, and he went to college for school.
He went to school for this.
I mean, he went to school for this, college for school. He went to school for this. Like, he had all these dreams. He wrote this record. He was like, and we're like, dude, this rocks. And he's like, probably doubting himself, as every young person does.
Of course.
And they're like, yeah, this is awesome. And to see him towards the end just being like, yo, run it back. Put this back.
Calling the shots.
If you want to hear it.
Accurate.
I'm not run it back. And I'm like, all right, Jeff. So to watch a friend and also someone that you put your trust into write these songs, because I mean, I don't have to play a fucking instrument. To watch these guys really come to that. That was cool for me. It's almost like an old grandpappy watching my children grow. But they were, to watch them come to terms with this is our record was fucking sick, because I hadn't experienced that since I was emailing people.
Yeah. Before Victory. Yeah.
And so that was super dope.
Wow. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about the new album. Have you guys released any, like, a name for it, or is that all still secretive?
It's, the whole secretive thing. I mean, there's reoccurring themes, which ends up being the whole title of the album. I would say it's kind of just about growth, but then there's like a bunch of sprinkles in there. So imagine like a really old cinnamon bun, but like with sprinkles in it. It's kind of
Okay.
it's exciting, but it feels like,
What the hell?
oh, this is a band, like a good band that I've heard before with new life, and I'll probably still eat it.
I like that.
It's much better. It's been microwaved. It looks good.
Cool. So I'm sure you had like a plan for the album.
Oh, we had a plan.
Yeah, that's before the quarantine started.
Yeah.
And so did all that kind of, I'm guessing, is pushed back? Or are you going to change?
We're working around
dates?
it, I think.
Okay.
Exactly.
So today, actually, we were supposed to. Today was supposed to be the last day of our European tour.
Where?
Yeah, we were supposed to be in London right now.
How many tickets?
I think that tonight was sold out. It was like 1,700.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big deal. I'm at home with my Tootsies out.
But we had a whole plan. We were gonna release Foolish Believer, and then on the tour we were gonna release another single with the like album information, pre-order packages, all that stuff, and then we were gonna come home, probably release another song with that song, gonna do like a headlining album release tour, and we're still planning on all of this. It's just
when we're allowed.
The timeline is a little different now.
Whenever they let everybody outside again.
Right.
Exactly. We were planning for a summer release, but I guess we'll see where we are. The beautiful thing that happened is right before all this shit really started happening, we went to LA and busted our ass for 3 days and filmed 3 music videos.
Oh, cool.
Right now we do have that ammo, where somebody, shit, we need content. Let's go play a video game I've never touched in my life on stream. We're kind of like, all right, we can be a little lenient ourselves because we know at the least bit we do have some other singles and
yeah, and you have a record
already dries
done.
up, just drop a music video.
In a record, exactly. Yeah. Worst comes to worst, I'll just drop the whole album right now. I'll eat that shit. So we do have that. I think we're going to be releasing a new single either like this month or the beginning of next. So to keep things rolling, keep it in the pocket like what we had planned, and I guess we'll just see really what happens with all this, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. I cannot wait to hear it. I love the new song. It's so great. Like, and I love that it still takes me back to that era of the Taking Back Sunday, Thursday stuff. And like, but like you said, it's like hip and it's new, and
exactly.
It doesn't sound like you wrote the song in 2003 or, you know, like,
right.
It sounds like a relevant track, but it has the notes of the early emo stuff. I love it. Yeah. Exactly. Which I think it's amazing. I love it. And I really can't wait. I can't wait to hear the record, and you guys can tour and stuff. Have you been doing, or are you planning on doing the like Zoom, like Facebook Live things or Instagram Lives, or
talking about all that now? We've done a few interviews, but I think we're going to try to get better at putting out content.
Okay.
We did. Oh yeah. Okay. So we did. We've done a few like Instagram Live. We did a Reddit AMA. But we've been throwing around the idea of doing, I don't know what, like reimagined or acoustic versions of Foolish Believer just to release.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
We just have to figure out the logistics of it. But Jeff's so smart, you know, so.
You guys will figure it out.
Something out.
That.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, thank you guys so much for chatting with me. I appreciate it.
And thank you.
It's been awesome.
Thanks for having us.
This is great.
I have one more question. I want to see if I can get an answer from all you guys individually. If you have any advice for aspiring artists, people trying to do what you're doing.
Yeah. Jeff, why don't you start?
I would say throw me in there. Be around people that you enjoy. Like there's a lot of times, like I've been in bands before where like you do it because, you know, your friend has a guitar, or, you know, somebody can sing or whatever. Be around people you enjoy spending, you know, hours and hours in a band with, or, you know, the low points of, you know, music, the low points of this kind of stuff. having that kind of good energy and positivity around you, I feel like helps overall mental well-being, as well as just being able to do this for a longer period of time, keeping that longevity up. But that's probably the biggest thing, having good positive energy and be around your friends.
I like that.
That's
Me
good.
too.
Yeah, that was good. All right, why don't you choose?
I'll go.
Yeah, or they.
Oh yeah. Adam, you choose.
It doesn't matter to me. Dom, go. You're on my screen. You're the biggest one on my screen right now.
Perfect. I think that Jeff made some good points, and I'd like to also put that into mine, but add that a lot of like being in a band is persistence, because Broadside was pretty much broken up, and as like maybe weird as it was a relationship with Victory, like the fact that they were able to sign to Victory really did get them, that was like a big stepping stone. And that's why the rest of us are even able to be having this interview with you right now. So I think that you can't always call it quits just when things are looking a little dim, if that makes sense.
Totally.
So, I mean, I don't know. The first van that I ever toured in didn't have seats. It didn't have a seat at all. No seats except for the driver's seat. And a couple summers ago, we did a bandwagon tour where I got my own bed, and there was AC units, and so it's kind of, you just have to keep going and try to see past all the negative that may be right in front of you.
Yeah,
sure.
That's good.
Oh, am I choosing? Pat.
Okay. I say, if you're starting out, make music that you like. Because a lot of times you can get caught up in trying to form your art, so to speak, into something that somebody else is going to like. When at the end of the day, like they can change their mind or whatever, but you're going to be stuck with it. So you got to make sure that you're making stuff for you, as selfish as it sounds. But make music that you like to make, and then practice, get better at what you do, hone your craft, I guess.
That's good. Yeah.
I like that. Ollie.
I would say it's like to a artist,
aspiring artist.
Okay. Yeah. I would say find something that you love and just let it consume you indefinitely and let it kill you ultimately. I mean, there's nothing like listening to somebody that has a true passion. I think it's why things like YouTube and stuff like that are so successful. It's because we all aspire to be greater than we are because we're flawed humans. So I think the idea of loving something so much, unless it's harmful to yourself or to others, is so endearing and addicting to people, and nonetheless to ourselves. So I think if you can find something that you slightly enjoy, explore that option. You know what I'm saying? Like really dive into it and see what that's about, because there's the universe and society will shape you into what you will ultimately become. But if you can find, for whatever reason, if you're like, oh, I really like the feeling of velvet, or I really like the color green, take the time to pick apart what the fuck that means. And it sounds super hippy dippy and artsy, but you'll find that it leads to really cool experiments within yourself. But ultimately, you'll find that on your darkest days, you can reflect back to that. And I feel like that's an anchor to save the human spirit, ultimately. And I feel like that's really important, especially in art and especially in music, is to find something that no matter what, the pain that will eventually and ultimately all consume us, you can reference back to that, because there's nothing more comforting than a memory of standing when you're on your back.